Okay, guys. Let's stop the conversations and put the phones away and whatnot. So, like I said before, Julie and friends over there, I need your attention. Let's put maybe the foods and snacks away. Thank you. So, I have a quick bit of art history for you. If you haven't done any art history before, I'm going to go over the, it'll work. I might have to stand behind my desk. So we're going over like a quick introduction of what I'm wanting for you guys today. So like I said just a minute ago, I would like it if you all wrote notes in your sketchbook. The notes itself are ungraded, but there is a reflection that I would ask that you do. You can do it either in your sketchbook and show it to me so that I can take a picture, or you can do it on Word document and upload it to the assignment later. So I'm going to talk to you today about different kinds of printmaking through history. If you guys know anything about printmaking, there's a quick question about that. Already you guys have tried quite a few, but I kind of want to see if any of you know some other kinds of printmaking. So we're also going to talk a little bit about the origins of printmaking and some examples of works from different kinds of prints and across a couple different cultures. So first, what are some kinds of printmaking that you've heard of? Quickly jot these down in your sketchbook, please.
I don't have a sketchbook.
If you don't have a sketchbook, get out your Chromebook and make notes.
I got a piece of paper.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Piece of paper works too. All I need is proof that you did it.
What's that big machine called where you have like each little letter? And you, like, isn't there an actual name for it?
Yeah, that's a movable printing press.
Okay,
And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, actually. What is some different kinds of printmaking that you have heard of? Would anyone like to answer this question? Yes, Joy.
There's like t-shirt printing as a sort
T-shirt printing? Yeah. How do you print on t-shirts? Do you know?
screen printing. Yeah, screen printing.
Screen printing? Yeah, that's one. Anybody else? Yes, Sierra. Lino? Yes, you guys have been doing Lino. What's another one that's maybe a little bit harder that you can think of on a harder surface? Maybe.
Oh, wood.
A harder surface. Wood, yes. There's even something called lithographs, which is typically on a stone tablet or on a metal sheet as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. So now, some kinds of printmaking, like I said, are woodcut, lino cut, lithography, which is the stone one that I talked about, etching, which can be on metal, stone, glass, or wood, and engraving, which is roughly about the same. There's a slight difference between etching and engraving. Etching is usually with a chemical that requires you to etch with a chemical. Engraving is usually with some kind of harder tool. You guys obviously have worked with linoleum, but there's wood, metal, glass, and textiles. So some of the oldest examples of printing that we have come across in history, there's prehistoric bones that have printing on them, or even cave walls, like you guys have all seen the prehistoric cave hands. Henry, please put that phone away. Prehistoric cave hands on the wall, that's a form of printing. You guys have maybe seen some stone tablets that have been used to print. I'm going to talk more about that one in this particular example. So the earliest examples that we have that are the most, they're the most complete, are from China. They're metal, particularly bronze and copper rubbings. Rubbings is when you take a piece of metal or stone and you etch or carve into it, and then once that's done, you take a piece of paper and then you brush over it with ink or charcoal, and basically what you have etched out remains white, similar to how you guys have done with the linos. And I have a video actually of how this rubbing technique works. Later on, the Tang Dynasty prints, which was way before most European printing presses, they actually had movable print processes that were done with porcelain pieces or stone. This is around 400 years before Gutenberg even made his movable printing press. Let's see if this video might work. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but the videos I have been trying to do today have not been working. This is a cool little short video. So these are some examples of some bronze, excuse me, that people would frequently take rubbings from. There's some other examples, but this is how it works. This is one of the archaeologists doing this, by the way. This is showing some of the typical ways that it would have been done as well. So you see that they're actually making traditional ink with ink blocks. That's a typical Chinese way of doing things. And it's pretty interesting, I think. So obviously you have to be very gentle with the whole process because the paper that they're using is quite thin. Almost comparative to tissue paper. Wow. See how it's coming on with the really slightest pull, and then they have the design on it. That's similar to how the Chinese rubbing technique works. Yeah, it would be very hard to not rip it. That's the final design there. And they're using these now, archaeologists are using these now in order to preserve some of these artifacts that are quickly deteriorating or even sustain damage. So, talking a little bit about this now. So here's another example from early ancient history that we have. This is called the Diamond Sutra, which is a wood block print that was created. We don't know exactly where it was created, but considering that it has many Chinese aspects to it, it was probably created somewhere in China, but for whatever reason it was found in eastern Turkestan in a cave. This was the earliest woodblock and textile examples that some archaeologists have found were in early Egypt, and it's usually to make repetitive designs on cloth for designs on clothing and objects like that. So some early European examples that we have are much, much later. This is a signet seal for Henry the 11th of, the 8th, not the 11th, that's a B, of England, and this is 1436. So this is, again, almost 400 years after that first movable type that we have in China. Textile printing, however, was much more common, again, on clothes to create designs and decoration. Printing on paper typically developed from textile printing. Paper was a very expensive process to make before about this period of time. I can always talk to you guys later about the paper, but it's a really interesting process. One of the examples we also have is from Spain around the 700 to 1031 AD, which is quite a bit earlier than this example, but it's another example of textile printing, and it's Islamic. So it's non-representational, so there's no figures in it, there's no animals, no birds. Islamic artwork is very decoration-based and geometric, so that it all sort of fits together, similar to how you guys were creating your radial designs. So this is an interesting bit of information that I thought would be curious for you. How many of you have heard of tarot cards? Raise your hands. Yeah, quite a few of you. So tarot cards are actually originally playing cards. They were not used for divination purposes. They were created by the Italians for a game called Terracini, which was similar to the cards that we actually have today that have 52 cards, different faces, king, queen, jack, ace, all that jazz. So a lot of countries had similar games, but this is an example of some wood prints made for this game. There was German Grosstalk as well, which was a similar game to Terracini. A lot of the first woodcuts were used for games, but also for religious purposes, because a lot of times during history, the church was the main main group in the world that was asking for artwork. So woodcuts, other than playing cards, were typically used for making copies of drawings, so they were called facsimiles. Facsimile just means essentially a copy or a fake later on in the origin of the word. So Gutenberg, like I said before, he didn't make his movable type press, which was a way of printing. He was taking little pieces of metal, engraving different characters into it, and then he was able to move things around onto a printing press that was sort of shaped like a square. Think of it sort of like how you guys did your Linos, except with the reductive process, but you're able to move things around on it, sort of like a puzzle. So he didn't create his until 1436, which is, like I said, nearly 400 years after China's movable printing press, which was typically made out of porcelain or metal. Korea made made theirs around 1377, which was still 78 years before Gutenberg. And most woodcuts and metal etchings were actually often made to be hand painted and then mounted on a wall as decoration, not necessarily for printing. So now we get to the portion here where I ask you to do some reflection questions. I want you guys to see this image here. How many of you have seen this image before? Raise your hands. Oh, that's a pretty good amount. Can anyone tell me who it's by?
No.
Anybody?
Somewhere in Japan.
Maybe somewhere in Japan, that's great.
It's called
I was just
Tokyo
about to ask
Waves.
which culture it was from.
Is it
It looks
called
Japan.
Tokyo Waves?
Say again?
Is it called Tokyo Waves?
Similar.
Or what?
It's Hokusai, let's see, tsunami off of Horikawa, I think is the name of it, similar to
No.
that. So the questions that I want you to write down either in a Word document or on your sketchbook and then upload as a response to this assignment here. This is worth 10 points for you. Question 1, how was printmaking changed, or how has printmaking changed? Write at least 2 sentences based on, like a little summary of what I've talked about today in comparison with some modern techniques like shirt printing. How do you think it may have affected a lot of commercial objects? There's so much printmaking out there than you realize.
And there's the poem.
Also, what about printmaking is intriguing to you? This is where I want your guys' input, your opinions, your thoughts. Why is it intriguing to you? These questions are also in PowerPoint. They're uploaded to your Google Classroom if you need to come back to them later as well, but I am going to leave them on the screen so you can see. Also, write a paragraph on the image of Hokusai's wave here. What do you know about this image? Have you seen it before? Describe the piece in your own words. Knowing more about printing now, how do you think this artist made this piece? Why do you think this? Do you like it? Why or not? Why not? And that's all I'm asking you to write about today. Any questions?
In our notebooks, right?
Yes, Sierra.
How long is the paragraph?
A paragraph is about 5 to 6 sentences. I know, but they could be short sentences. Yeah, I'm not asking you to ramble on. I don't need you to, but if you want to write more than that, that is okay with you. Right? What do you see? What do you wonder? Things like that. This can be a note-taking process for your own research. Yes. So those last 3 bullet points are part of the paragraph that you are writing.
And then they just go on and on about this word.
Once you are done with writing in your sketchbook, I need everyone's attention.
So,
Attention, please. Julie,
Yeah.
Henry, I need your attention. After you are done writing these things, I need you to upload them to Google Classroom underneath the assignment for this. This is very imperative because I need them for this assignment because I'm recording this, okay? I need student examples. If you don't upload it, you're gonna get a 0 on this assignment. It's only worth 10 points, but it's still something, okay? That's all.
Unless he was saying unless like one of us was interested in sports, then he might get into sports. But like he was saying,
If any of you need help, I'm here as well.
was it reduction or
so
was it
he
like
wrote
you had
two
2
page paper.
What is it?
Why he thought sports
I
was
feel like I've seen it before, like, repeated or something.
So,
you gotta
Alright,
like,
I'll
please stick to
uncharge
the
you.
prompt next.
There's a lot of different colors.
I want you to write down what you think it is.
scary.
And then I'll answer your question.
She's all on the side.
Alright, give it a minute.
She's looking at
Christina Oscar for writing quite so much.
Can't tell me.
This
I
is
can't
to
keep
make
telling
you
There's some
guys
resemblance.
It's a
think
little.
about art
Oh,
history
yeah. A lot.
and start maybe analyzing it a little bit. mind that you guys
Boom.
need for later art
Hold
history
on.
lessons.
Not. Bad word.
Let's leave his writing alone.
I give you the pass.
Where I've been given that multiple times, I
You
just
got
don't
it
do
now,
it.
you got it now.
I'm fine.
Let's keep our responses to this also appropriate, as usual.
Big head.
Why did you not that big? You freaking liar.
I just throw it.
Julie and Henry, let's stop the conversation, please, and let's work on this.
That was
You
like,
should make this one. Okay.
Yes. That's what I'm doing.
Printing.
Aliens.
Yes. Very detailed.
Using like two shades of brown.
Yes.